It's always been a critical part of each of the three trials. The night Elijah McClain was at the convenience store, the night he was stopped by police, the night a paramedic injected him with ketamine. What caused his heart to stop in the back of an ambulance?
People will call Dr. Cina.
Each trial, prosecutors have relied in no small part on the words of this man, Dr. Cina.
In my final report, he died of complications of ketamine administration following forcible restraint.
Yet Dr. Cina's first autopsy never came to that conclusion. In fact, he concluded in 2019 he couldn't find a cause of death, left it undetermined. Only after the story became an international story and the Attorney General announced a new investigation did he revisit his conclusion. Today, it was a critical part of the defense's cross-examination.
Dr. Cina, in your 8,500 to 9,000 autopsies, how often has another government agency come to you and asked you to reopen your case and do a further investigation?
I would say it's unusual. It's unusual for a separate agency to ask me to relook at a case.
Also unusual, some of the responses he received from members of the public. Dr. Cina told the jury this.
And the other thing you received were death threats.
Correct. I did receive death threats. We had to up our security at home and get some dogs.
And you had people show up outside your home.
Correct.
Dr. Cina, seen here during an earlier trial, told the jury today he amended on his own. And in the end, he concluded in this autopsy a not typically fatal amount of ketamine killed McClain.
Even this amount, which shouldn't have killed most of us, sent him into a tailspin, which led to his respiratory arrest, cardiac arrest, and brain death.
Dr. Cina said over and over during these trials that he asked for but never received all the body camera recordings before signing his initial, now obviously flawed autopsy. For the first time, we heard the defense push back on that today as they asked Dr. Cina why he didn't mention that specifically in that initial autopsy report. He said yes, he didn't mention it, but in essence, it was implied. Important to note, Aurora Police has told us on the record it did allow Dr. Cina to watch the body camera recordings when the two sides met after the death. A lot going on here, but in the end, this is sort of Dr. Cina's word and what he's testified a number of times. There were some new things today, but interesting to hear from Dr. Cina's own words.
Yeah, there's still a lot of questions. The relevance of the death threats, though, was that something that needed to be read into the record to indicate what?
I think the implication is that potentially there was political pressure on Dr. Cina and other pressure on Dr. Cina to amend that autopsy. Remember, there was that initial autopsy, and then he amended it a couple years later. The defense is trying to insinuate that maybe there was some political pressure. That it didn't come out today, but certainly it will be on the minds of the jury as they go back and consider a verdict.
And as far as seeing that body camera footage, there seems to be a pretty big difference there between what he and Aurora PD are saying about making that available to him.
Big difference because, according to Dr. Cina, the Aurora Police Department never gave him access to critical parts of the body camera. That is a contentious issue, and the Aurora Police Department gave us a statement on the record that said that's simply not true.
All right, Chris, much more to come on this. Thanks.